Welcome to the first ever episode of The Place Finders, a show where we find places and then tell you about it.
Really on the nose with the place finders.
Yeah.
Find it.
There shouldn't be any question about what this show's about.
Finding a place.
Just in case there's any
it.
discrepancies, that's what we do. And then you can decide whether or not you want to go there as well. So
Whether you want to find that place too.
today's episode, we are going to go over our most recent trip, which was down to Ouray, Colorado.
If that's how you say it.
Still not sure if that's the proper pronunciation for that. We heard Ouray, Ouray, Ouray.
The British called it Ouray, bruv.
What you can expect to see in these episodes is a ranking scale from 0 to 10, 0 being awful, 10 being definitely going to go there again.
Well, there's going to be halves in there too, so it's realistically 1 to 20. If you really want to be technical about it. Anyways, there's a couple categories, if I recall correctly. She wanted to write notes, I wouldn't let her.
That's why I'm stressing out.
We've got accommodations, transportation, food, scenery, attractions.
Out of those 5, we're going to give each one of those categories its own rating, and then based off of that, it's going to get an overall rating. So to start off, we are going to go with accommodations and where we stayed while we were there.
We stayed in a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
It was a riverside, riverfront, beautiful, gorgeous cabin that they said online. But it wasn't riverfront. It was actually street front, which was gorgeous. I don't know.
Right next to the dumpster, it really was giving.
So Ouray is called the Swiss Alps of the Rockies. And it really lives up to that name with the gorgeous beauty that is around there. I don't think most people are worried about the accommodations when they go down there, nor are they worried. I mean, the vast majority of the people that are going down there are going down there to off-road. You know, there's Jeep rentals at every single place we went. And so the accommodations were lackluster compared to, you know, what the prices we were paying for it. But that's because people are going down there for a specific reason. Which
we were unaware of. Okay, let's preface this by saying this was a surprise birthday trip for him. He had no idea what he was even walking into. I did do the planning for the majority of it. And so I chose the Riverside Resort. It was actually like the second or third accommodations. I ended up changing a few different ones.
You can tell she definitely doesn't overthink.
I settled on this one because the website looked really relaxing. There was hot tubs, there was mountains. He said hot tub, mountains, beer. Boom. This is where we landed on this place. And so the website, in hindsight, is very misleading. So when we first got there, we checked in on the RV side. That lady was amazing as far as customer service. She was super nice, and we were like, oh, already love this place. It turns out we had to go check in on the opposite side. So when we went over there, the customer service was less than pleasing. The guy was kind of rude about it. And we tried to change to a different cabin that actually was Riverside and not Dumpster Side. And even though we were like one of the first people to check in and the other cabins were still empty, they tried to upsell us another like
That's $200.
$200.
$100 extra a night.
Yeah, for like to upgrade us to different cabins we didn't want.
I don't even think those had the bathroom in it. The main point is I don't like pooping with other dudes.
Yeah. And it was a shared bathroom situation. So on the website, it looked like obviously each cabin had its own bathroom.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Because you had to walk to... It was fine at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not that sensitive that I can't poop with other dudes. All I'm saying is I don't like smelling other dudes' dookie when I'm also dookieing. And I like listening to videos loud. Okay? So,
Yeah,
and people... I was dropping my phone. People were concerned. Okay?
The other thing about this place too is they had a restaurant that was also on site. The Smokehouse is what it was called. Mm-hmm. And so like from the get-go, they get your phone number for like promos and stuff, and every single day they were advertising what sales they had for dinner and their brunch specials. They offered $15 bottomless mimosas, and they give you a 10% off coupon when you do check in with the resort. And so we did end up going there, forgot our coupon in the cabin. Anyway, ended up getting a discount because the waitress spilled the bottomless mimosas all over him. All over him. And it was a mess on the table. It was her first day. It was kind of just a disaster from the beginning. A $16 burrito. We ended up splitting it.
So we tried to give the smokehouse a chance 2 times. We did the first time we went and we got the breakfast. Breakfast said black beans in the breakfast burrito. It was pinto, which I'm not like...
Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't care.
Whatever. I
beans.
care.
If beans are beans, all right? Either way, they're going to make my tummy gurgle. All I'm saying is that they only gave us a 20% discount for her spilling a thing on me. And then when we tried to order again, we wanted to order just like to go so that we could eat at the cabin. Because there was like a cute little seating place out front. I noticed that the, half platter of barbecue stuff was like $33. I noticed when I went to check out it was $43. Like, I don't remember taxes being 25% or whatever that is. And so we end up looking, and they gave an 18% tip to the wait staff. I normally do anyways, but I'm picking it up. Why would I have to do that? And then a 5% for the kitchen staff, sure, whatever. And then a service charge, and then the taxes on top of it. So we're talking an extra 33% worth of money that going into this thing. I'm like, just
for us to do all that.
I gotta go pick it. I gotta walk down there. I'm drunk. I'm gonna fall over
in the river.
Into the river. That's riverfront.
That's how they get rid of all their complaining customers.
Overall, the accommodations, to get back to our point, were not great. But I take that with a grain of salt in that the reason you go down to Ouray is for the outdoorsness. For the views and the ability to be outdoors. So the accommodations, at the end of the day, while shitty, really aren't the main focus of going down there. And I feel like most people know that going in. If it wasn't just a surprise party for us, we would have, probably planned it out a little bit better. Rented a Jeep instead of a Camaro, stuff like that.
With that, my ranking at first was like, a little upsetty spaghetti about it, considering that their website said that they had a hot springs as well. Which they did not. It was actually a several-minute drive up the road. So I chose this place given what was based off of their website and ended up not being true while we were there. So afterwards, I did go on to Google review, of course, and I ended up giving them an honest review of what I thought of the accommodations. They fired back. And it made my ranking for this place go even lower, which I didn't think was possible.
I didn't know they wrote back to you.
They wrote back to me, and it was a paragraph so long I gave up halfway through, basically like saying it was my fault that I didn't properly read the website, and I should have done more research going into it, which went personal with it. It was very unprofessional, I would say, the way that I've had businesses fire back 100 times, and it was the owner themselves, and the unprofessional manner in which they fired back definitely gave it a lower ranking for me. So at the end of the day, with how pushy they were, how bad the customer service was, and the website, I'm down to like 2 out of 10 for this place.
Yeah, I would equate it to staying in an RV park. If your RV doesn't have a toilet in it, because that's what it was at the end of the day, it was an RV park. So yeah, I would say a solid like 3 for me. I didn't write no Google reviews or nothing like that, and I didn't get into an argument with somebody online. So I don't have that little piece of
2
it.
2 is still being generous, I would say. So that brings us to our next point then, which you already gave a little teaser into, the transportation segment of it. So the transportation for this one, we did end up renting a car, which was supposed to be the other part of the surprise. He did end up picking the car. Granted, he didn't know where we were going, so that made a fun little twist on it. So what did we end up getting?
Well, so my truck doesn't have AC, so I wanted AC, even though we didn't
have AC either.
We didn't need it the whole time because it was so cold. It was cool. It wasn't super cold, but we got a Camaro. Now, in any other world, the Camaro would have been a great option. Outside of we got a convertible. I probably wouldn't do the convertible because somebody in this group of 2 people here likes to pack 2 large suitcases for a 3-day trip. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm just going to, one person's wearing a Bucky's shirt. And then the other is wearing her custom-made outfit that she's changed already once today. All I'm saying is it was very small trunk space. We had to put the luggage in the back seat.
Well, first, so it was tough to get it in.
I had to squeeze it.
And obviously, like, as you know, there's a little bit of cushion space in the luggage, so it can, like, compact as you put it in.
Normally,
in normal packing circumstances, of which this was not. And so
we're preparing for an Armageddon.
We were like, we're gonna ride with the top down, and so we tried, but plot twist again, the convertible goes into a portion of that already small trunk space.
Yeah, so they have a little flap that basically, like, if you move that flap down to put stuff in the trunk, it won't allow you to do the convertible top. Which, I mean, whatever. Like, then you don't do the convertible top while you're driving down there. We ended up just saying, hey, we don't have anything for the back seat anyways. We just threw the luggage back there so that we could drop the top when we wanted to.
We ended up putting the luggage in the back seat, and it was a very windy road going down there. So at every turn, the luggage through the entire canyon. I got a little annoyed with it, for sure. That bothered me. I was gonna buckle it up like it was our child in the backseat making too much noise. Too bad
it was too big. It needs a whole adult size pack.
It wasn't even that big. You bought it for me. God.
Yeah, to go to foreign countries.
Okay, well, we were in the Swiss Alps, from what I read on the website.
Yeah, the Swiss Alps of Colorado.
Yes.
No, I mean, it had the V6 engine. It wasn't the V8. It was just the basic LS, with a convertible. V6 has got like 300 horsepower anyway, so it was plenty enough to get us over the mountains. We were on 285 most of the way down there, which is Colorado's deadliest road. I now figured out after I did some research. We were coming back, and there was an accident on 285 around Bailey-ish that shut down both lanes, and we had to turn around and go through Breck.
We just barely got the rental car back in time.
Yeah.
We almost had to rent it a whole nother day because of the accident. Turns out that was the same day the tornadoes came through our town and ripped up the whole town. So if not, we could have...
Ripped up the whole town. It's fucking dramatic. It hit one house.
We're not even in Kansas anymore. And so...
Are we we're in Kansas. We're not in Colorado anymore. Anyways, back to the point. Had plenty of power. It was only a little bit sketchy because there was a couple dirt roads that we had to go up to.
Right.
To get to like a mine tour.
So everyone was in a Jeep.
Oh yeah,
we were in a
4-wheel drive was the standard
and
up there.
Everyone is looking at us like, that's a nice car. We're getting like thumbs up. There's all these like, guys hooting and hollering about like how great the Camaro is. But we're the only ones there. The Camaro, reasonably so. Like, nobody has seen one inside the town probably in forever. For that specific reason. And there were several roads where it was like, this is cool, and then suddenly it's like a shelf road and you're on dirt and there's mountain here and then mountain here and then big trucks trying to come by you. And so it quickly went from like reasonable roads to like you're in the canyon.
I don't know if I'd rather have a truck or a Camaro in that regard, because Camaro handled the roads just fine.
Overall, I give the Camaro... like a 4 out of 10. I liked it, but it just wasn't good for that spot.
To be honest, I would give it probably more close to a 6. I'm never going to give anything a 10 out of 10. I mean, I don't know that unless it's some kind of gorgeous, Porsche Cayenne or, 911 or something like that. I don't think I'm ever going to give it a 10 out of 10. But with that being said, there's a couple of those shelf roads that I'm like, oh man, 10 years ago, I would have loved this car on this road because then I could carve it up. But now,
be reckless.
I am scared of falling off the edge for whatever reason. I don't know what changed. My frontal lobe developed a little bit more, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, this can die, But
yeah, there's a sense of fear for sure that even like going up.
Oh, yeah.
up the mountain was a
Well,
bit
I
too
mean,
much.
and it was real fear. I mean, like I said, after that accident on the way back, I was like, I did some research because I wanted to figure out what the accident was about because I'm nosy and I want to see how many people died. Joking, obviously. But 285 is one of Colorado's deadliest roads, and that pass, the Kenosha Pass, and into Bailey and stuff like that is the reason why. You know, the car was a little uncomfortable for my size of dude. I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, so I'm big. I don't fit in there. Thanks, Muffin. This is Muffin, by the way. She sneezes on people. And just decides that she wants to get in the middle of whatever we're talking about.
She's our co-host, and she doesn't offer too much, but good looks.
And sneezes. Anywho, I'd say I'm a solid 6 just because, I really enjoy driving it. Yeah. I don't get to drive something like that. I drive trucks, at work. I drive trucks home from work, and I've driven trucks my whole life pretty much. So a small coupe like that. I can't really get behind buying because I want to be able to do stuff with my truck. I need to put wood and motorcycles and stuff in the back. It is cool. The reactions we got, like she said, are pretty sweet.
It was fun. Yeah. Definitely. It was
everyone was really about it,
It was just causing a scene. We did end up driving up the canyon a little bit and turning it into a photo shoot. So, we at least, I found some fun in that. Thanks, Eddie.
Joking.
I do have a soft spot for my old original Camaro too, though. So the new ones are just not it for me.
Yeah, you had an IROC Z, which had less horsepower than this V6 with that 5-liter V8 that the IROC had. But
I just like that it was a 5-speed manual.
Fair enough. It was
built the same year that I was. We were the same age, and it was reasonably low to the ground. I don't want to hear it.
What year was that?
It was low to the ground and it made sense. This one for the Camaro, like he said, it was kind of hard for us to get out of because we're used to like hopping down from big trucks.
Right.
This one, you're almost like grazing. Like we felt so low. And it kind of gave that visual effect driving through the canyons like that where it kind of made everything seem a little bit bigger, which was really nice. Because of how low it was and how sloped the windshield was, it really didn't give us a lot of...
Oh yeah, then the instrument cluster was like this big.
Yeah.
And there's like probably this much a window that you could see out.
I kept trying to figure out how to get my seat in the proper like position to see more. And there just wasn't. Like, that's why it's a convertible now. It makes sense because, like, that's your viewing space. Like, it just kind of felt cramped. Overall, 4 out of 10 for me, 6 out of 10 for you.
Tractions, yes. So I would say we didn't go down there with the right equipment.
Right.
We went down.
Had
and
we had the Jeep and whatnot.
Had we been able to
Off-roading.
rent a Jeep, and off-road and do a little bit of the point of that fucking town literally is just to off-road into Telluride. Like that's, the main pass into Telluride, the off-roading pass, the one that's the scariest road in Colorado, the deadliest or whatever. That's the whole draw of this place. And there's killer mine tracks all over the place, and if you do have the opportunity to go off-roading there, I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. We kind of had to rely on some of the more kind of local stuff. We spent a lot of time in the hot tub, which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted to relax. But we did a mine tour. I loved the mine tour.
The mine tour was fun. I think that was my favorite.
To not sound old, I've done a lot of mine tours in Colorado, okay? Went to the Argo. Argo's cool. You get
Idaho
to see,
Springs.
Yeah, you get to see the stamp mill, and they have a bunch of stuff, like old school stuff.
It's not open, however, so it's one of the ones you can't go into, but they do give you like a full facilities tour.
Yeah, I mean, you get to go in like 10 feet into the mine, and like then they show you this big U.S. sealed thing, like, can't go back here because all the water behind this thing is toxic and will kill everything in it.
So this one was different in that aspect where we were, how far in were we?
1,600 feet.
1,600 feet straight into the mountain. It quickly got cold. It quickly got dark. I remember like him being like, this is a halfway point, and we all looked back and there's just a pinhole of light literally at the end of a tunnel.
I thought it was super cool. She on the other hand, was terrified. She was dragging behind us from the
Well,
first
also,
time.
I literally like wore this outfit, I'm pretty sure, and so I had to pull my pants up because there were puddles of water, there was mud everywhere. I again didn't
In a mine.
dress. I didn't bring any outfits that were appropriate for what we planned on doing because we were gonna do the hot springs. That was not at the accommodations, but was up the street. Only to find out half of the things there were closed, and they were still
shut down most
charging.
of it,
Yeah, they were still charging full price. The water slides weren't open. Half the pools were closed, and
How
so
am I not supposed to be able to go down water slide? Is what I'm saying.
right. And so again, that was one of the things we were really looking forward to doing, and it being closed was kind of a bummer. So we had to pivot, and I did not expect us to do the mine tour. In the future, I will bring a mine tour outfit for
If there's a mine tour, I'm
old
gonna
man
probably
here.
do it. All right, that's all I'm fucking saying. All right.
All right.
If there's a mine tour, or if there's like some kind of other thing that revolves around us doing something with history, I'm always gonna want to.
No, I love history too, and I enjoyed the mine tour. Again, I just didn't wear the right pants for it, so that's why I was lagging behind.
Yeah.
At the end of it too, I thought it was really funny that they like kind of just, you're off on your own, and they had this activity where it was gold panning.
At a silver mine.
But it was a silver producing mine. And so it's kind of, again, I think just a marketing tactic where they're like, come pan for gold.
Put it in comparison, the Argo does a gold painting thing as well, but they give you a loaded pan, basically.
Right,
You're
so
guaranteed 2 or 3 pieces of gold out of each pan, worth like $1.50 or whatever. You kind of get to, like, they literally give you a shovel and like, here.
It was literally just like haphazard equipment strewn
Right.
across like the mountainside.
Right, and I mean, it was cool that we got to do it, and I think the tour of the mine was a lot better than a lot of mine tours I've been on.
It was very historical. I liked the tour guide that we had. He was you could tell he was really into it, and he was very knowledgeable as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, there was one point where he turned off all the lights.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
just
he
let
lit
the
the
candles go.
Oh, God, that was so cool.
And you're like, how do you even do any work down here?
Right, and he was explaining how, like, that was the only light that they had, and sometimes they would even have a candle on their felt hats, which, of course, would burn them and whatnot. And then he talked about, like, the union and how that got started with fighting for the miners' rights, and it was actually very, very historical, and I really liked the knowledge that he had in that, so we appreciate that. That was the Bachelor Syracuse mining tour, and we can leave a link for you guys too, but that one was really cool. It was worth the cost of it for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think that was one of our favorite things.
Less than the going to the hot springs, which
it was less than one bottomless mimosa.
yeah. I would say, as far as other things to do in the town, there was like little shops and stuff like that were kind of cute. Mm-hmm. We really didn't get an opportunity to go into many of them because they were closed by like 6 or 7.
I remember that being really weird.
Yeah. But
for a tourist town, a lot of the touristy boutique shops were closed. I mean, not even by 8. We were waiting for dinner, and a lot of them were closing, if not had been closed already.
Yeah, I think the we just came in an off season.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna knock them. Especially because it's probably very hard with the cost of living to get people to work. Low level jobs like that. So. To give them some grace on it. But, yeah, I mean, overall, had I brought a Jeep, I think my attractions level would probably be, higher. But for me, it's realistically like a 4, I would say. And that's like 90% of the mine tour. Mm-hmm. Which, I'm biased because I like mine tours. But, yeah, that's about it.
But it just, I mean, they could have done more with the hot springs, which was supposed to be kind of like a public park. They had a lot of, you can walk by the river and sit and eat places, which were cute. But they were really kind of just going off of that Swiss Alps of America kind of And you could tell it was a seasonal place. So again, maybe we just came a couple weeks too early, and that could have been it. But that's kind of a make it or break it thing if you don't know that necessarily. So
Well, yeah.
I agree, had we come with the right equipment, the right mindset, and the right timing, this place could have been amazing. I've heard great things about it. When I was telling people this is where we were going, they're like, you're going to love it. You guys are going to have a great time. But we just kept looking for the great time in all the wrong places, I guess. We did find quite a few breweries, which were fun as well. That's kind of where we spent a lot of our time. And then, of course, checking out the scenery. So that can be our next category as well, was the scenery.
Category?
Yeah, that's a category.
Okay.
Well, this is why I had notes. You didn't want to go over the notes.
We can pull over
Hold
the
on,
notes.
we didn't even rank what the attractions were.
I ranked, you didn't.
Oh, you did.
Keep going.
You said 4 out of 10.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
See, you put attraction... Oh, scenery. Okay.
See, we're just going out of order. Accommodations, transportation. So scenery, honestly, was kind of one of the attractions that was there, as we later learned. And it was one of my favorite parts of the overall trip. Even though, despite some of them, you had to go on like shelf roads and mountain-esque areas to get to it, and we weren't having the heights, it was still very beautiful. There was this one place where you could, like, you know, drink beer from a rooftop, and you could see one of the waterfalls right there, which was gorgeous. We went there a couple of times throughout our trip. Yeah.
We there's about 3 waterfalls that are like really easy to just like see. Like, you don't have to do any hiking.
You just pull up, and it's right there.
Yeah, and they're. I mean, when they say the Swiss Alps of the Rockies, they mean it. Like, these mountains are imposing, large, gorgeous, snow-capped with water coming down them. You know, like,
even in the middle of the summer.
Yeah,
it's
like,
beautiful.
Had we had the opportunity to rent a Jeep, I think, you know, like that, you know, would be what unlocks the even more scenery for us, you know.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure we just, you know, barely tapped into what this place has to offer. But again, just timing and everything. So scenery for me, for sure, was like 8 out of 10. I'll give them that. Even like just walking next to the river, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, just being able to sit there and kind of watch the sunset over the valley and stuff like that it was really gorgeous. Yeah, I'd put it right around an 8.5 out of 10.
For sure.
For mine. You know, I just think there's more to offer, you know, if we had gotten, you know, that, and that's on us. You know, I didn't do that research going in. Obviously, it was a surprise trip for us, so, you know, we really I didn't have that expectation going in, you know. But now we know that we can try it out again if we get, you know, if we ever want to go back down there.
Yeah, I think it would be worth it if we're gonna make a like full trip to Telluride to commit. But it's easy and close enough if we do have a Jeep, like do a day trip and then stop into Ouray for lunch or whatever, and then, you know, come back. And I think that's what that whole place literally is about. I think they're thriving off of the like side traffic from Telluride. So, yeah, 8.5 for me for scenery. And then food.
The most important category for me. I like eating. But what I'll say is that it was expensive. And I'm going to sound like an old man again. For the 15th time in the same thing. Everything's getting expensive. Like, I mean, Chili's costs $40 to eat at.
We love Chili's.
I do love Chili's. But the cost for a burger is $20, no matter where you go. And that's what they have. They have American fare. They have pizzas and burgers, like, which makes sense for the clientele that they're bringing in, you know, because they're bringing in, you know, someone like me without her that's driving in a Jeep with his buddies, and we just want burgers and beers.
Burgers and beers.
That's it.
That's what it is. It's kind of a bachelor pad kind of place.
For sure. And, like, That's why the accommodations were lower. That's why, all this kind of stuff is lower, is because it's a very bro dude.
We were one of the few
brewery
couples that
guy
was staying there for sure.
kind of place, and with that being said, I get sick and tired of burgers after, 2 or 3 of them in a row. So we tried to branch out, but...
Oh, God. Okay, so I think the best food that we did end up having was the Ouray brewery. That was the rooftop bar that did offer the views of the entire valley, and they did, that was where you could see the waterfall coming down from the mountains as well. I think that was my favorite place for food. They had food, brews, and good views, basically, and that was their selling point. It wasn't the best food that we've had, but it was the best out of this area, I would say, for what you're getting.
What we got some wings. We did some... They have some dry rub rings, which I love dry rub, but
they give you a warning that it's very spicy and you do not get a refund on it. And we asked the lady how it was, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's good. I've never had anybody complain about it." And I was like, "Well, if you're not getting your money back ahead of time, why would you complain?" Yeah, you already know. So even for me, as somebody who loves a 10 out of 10 spice level, it was hard to eat. It was hard to eat for sure, but still the best place. Then we tried to branch out and we went to the Corkscrew just up the street as well, and that was the pizza place. We went there, it wasn't like it was the last people walking in the door. It was a reasonable dinner hour that we were there. They were not busy, but the waitstaff was acting like they were in rush hour. And as we were coming in, there was a patron who was leaving, and she was saying that you can order any of the pizzas, any dish style that you want, meaning, you can get thin crust, deep dish, whatever. You don't have to necessarily stick to the menu. So we were like, all right, cool. Let's do that. Maybe it's our fault for being a little too experimental coming into this, but we just got a basic pepperoni pizza, and normally it's hand tossed. We decided to go deep dish with it. And honestly, only half of it was edible. The pepperonis were so burnt.
Yeah, it was very burnt.
It was very burnt. And we don't mind crispy food. We sometimes enjoy cheese. It.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the burnt little crispies on the side of a nice crust. Oh, that's my favorite part.
Or burnt lasagna.
But the bottom of it being black and as soon as you bite into it is all you taste, along with the pepperonis being the only other flavor there also being burnt. It was just too much.
I'll tell you this. They had good sauce, good cheese. They just cooked it for too long. I think, had we, got the luck of the draw and had it cooked right.
Could have been great.
We'd probably be singing their praises.
Right.
At the time, we were pretty blitzed. So we were thinking it was really good. And then by the time we got to the end of it, we were sobering up a little bit. And we're like,
this is awful.
This is actually not very good.
It was definitely drunk people food at first. We were like, you know what? This is great. Yeah, we were like, we don't care. We like burnt food anyway. And then towards the end of it, we were like, okay, but if we weren't us, people who enjoy burnt food, this is kind of unacceptable. It looks like it just sat around under a heating device for too long and just continued to bake even after they took it out. So it was dry, it was burnt,
Yeah, don't get me wrong, deep dishes are hard to do, because there's a lot of dough in there, but I'd much rather have a deep dish a little doughy than overcooked.
For sure.
And so... overall, then again, it also cost us, $60 to eat there. It was,
for what, 2 drinks and a deep dish pizza?
Right. And so that's another point, that I keep bringing up. It's really expensive. Yes, it's in the mountains. Yes, that takes, more effort to get supplies out there, so you got to charge a little bit more. But then you got to, justify your prices with good food.
Right. There's not even salt and pepper on most of it. You can tell it's barely seasoned food. And again, you're trying to just accommodate a wide palette of people that do come there and eat.
Right.
So, your spice level can only be so much, but add some damn salt to it. Come on. That's the first spice they ever discovered. We can all agree we like salt. Just put that in your food and we'll be fine.
Yeah, so anyways, We had a couple other meals that were, kind of nothing to throw your hand at. What I'd recommend, because it is kind of in beef country, there's some beef cattle ranches on your way down there. Like, you're starting to see, when you're in the flats, outside of Ouray, there's a lot of beef ranches and stuff like that. So they got some good prices on some beef.
We discovered too late that we could have grilled our own steak.
There was must have been a 16-ounce fillet at the local market for
Great prices.
$25. Like, I cut that in half. That's enough for both of us. And I cooked that on the grill, which was provided at the resort. And get some mashed potatoes or something, or some mac and cheese or something that I can cook in the microwave. We're talking, a higher level quality meal for half what I was spending.
At least half.
At any other place.
Some Topo Chicos. We would have been happy campers, quite literally. But again, maybe it was just.
And so that's what my point is with this place is like, I think that's the mindset of this place. You've got to be going there for your camping, for your, off-roading, for your adventuring. Like, this is more rugged.
Yeah.
Than what we were
If you try
expecting.
to live a bougie kind of lifestyle there, you're not going to find it. And I think that's what we ran into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with its proximity to Telluride, you might as well just go to Telluride if you're trying to be bougie.
Right.
Trying to spend $100 on a dinner, you might as well go to Telluride.
Might as well. So with that being said, it's about an hour drive still further into the mountains to get to Telluride.
Because you kind of have to kick out and go around.
There's no direct route.
You can go through a direct route, but it's off-roading only.
That's Jeeps, yeah. You gotta rent the Jeep first. Don't get a Camaro for that. So yeah, the best place that we did end up finding food was actually outside of Ouray. We went to the neighbor town called Ridgeway.
I liked Ridgeway.
I really liked Ridgeway as well. It was a surprisingly cute little town. It just had one of those nostalgia things. It was still close enough to the mountains that you got a great view. We ended up eating at
oh jeez, what was that place called?
I wrote it down. It's in the notes.
It's like a saloon style. It's very chintzy. They've got a bunch of Johnny Cash and gosh, what is his name?
John Wayne,
yes.
Very
John
cowboy
Wayne.
style kind
Stuff
of.
all over the place, and which I kind of dig,
For sure.
Brings me back to my kids' days of going on a road trip and stopping at places like that with my parents and getting a plate of baby back ribs.
Cafe.
And just chowing down on them.
Very good food, very reasonable prices. They had an outside deck as well
Which had great views.
A gorgeous day. They had a little festival that was going on as well, so there was live music there, and it was just very much like a community vibe that we're obviously big fans of in a small town like that.
Right.
And so we kind of found that kind of just nostalgia hominess in Ridgeway that we didn't find in Ouray. But we did end up, the food was really good there, and then we ended up finding that thrift store, which surprisingly had some fabric. So I bought a ton of fabric from them, and
there's also a train museum, which just really tickled my autistic jimmies.
We did do the train museum. It was free. It was self-guided.
One of the Grey Gooses, which are only in 2 places in the United States, that place and the Colorado Railroad Museum.
Both of which we've been to, so we have now finished that collection.
Seen all the Grey Gooses. And if you don't know what those are, look them up. They're very cool little machines. They're basically, somebody got the bright idea in the, early 1900s that all these rail cars really cost a lot of money. So we might as well just make one of these cars into one, and we'll use it as a bus and to deliver mail on these already existing rail lines.
Very cute. Just weird, boxy...
They're all riveted,
all metal,
you can really tell that they were built by airplane manufacturers.
It looks like an airplane that they just put on tracks, and they're like, we're going to deliver mail in that, and that's what they did. So there's 2 of them. We have since seen both of them.
There's 7 or 8, actually, but most of them are at, they're only in 2 locations. Just not to correct anybody, but if you start talking about trains, they start getting a little bit grumpy. Anywho. I would say, as far as food goes, take it with a grain of salt.
Quite literally, bring your own salt.
If you like burgers, you like American fare, you're not going to have any problems eating there. I mean, I like a simple burger as much as the next guy, But, that's it. There's burgers and steaks. I would recommend, like I said, I think this is more of a rugged place. Like, rent a Jeep,
You might as well go to a campground and
get a
pitch a
camp
tent
stove,
for way cheaper.
and cook yourself your own little steak on a cast iron or something like that.
Do the full camping.
Do it up. Do it the right way. Get in your rooftop tent on your Jeep, and have a good time. Because that's what that place is about. And, I think they're trying to brand themselves as a Telluride, but realistically...
It's like Telluride from Wish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say that. That's a fair assessment. Overall, food, give it a solid 3 out of 10. There was some good, some bad, mostly bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty on par with that. I'd give it a 4, but that's also reaching into Ridgeway, which does that count? I don't know, but I really liked the buffalo chicken wrap that I had there. That was super yummy.
But that's the thing is, like, I think we just had such expensive, shitty food so much at that point.
Some subpar chicken wrap was like, yeah.
Chicken strips in a fucking tortilla really got us going because it didn't cost us $25.
We tipped that girl so good for nothing. Like, just being in the right time and space. So yeah, overall ranking.
I already did mine.
Overall? Yeah.
Oh, for the whole trip.
For the whole, everything considered.
You go first.
I'm going to give it an open-minded 5. Everything considered. But I will take the 5 damage as my own, like, bad planning and whatever. And the open-minded part being that I would try it again in the right time and space with the proper planning, and maybe we'll have a fantastic time.
Yeah, I'm going to go back down with a, big old truck with 4-wheel drive or a Jeep.
We could have just saved money on the rental and just taken the truck down there.
Yeah.
It probably would have been fine.
And, I think that would really increase my rating. Right now, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
But, to be continued, I would say.
Yeah, we'll probably do it again, I would say. So bonus tidbits, we did stop in at this one place on the way down there called Poncho Springs.
All right, we're back. We had to get more mimosas and tell the neighborhood kids that we don't want to go play at the park with them.
Yeah, we're busy today, and our mom said no. On the drive down there, we did come across this cute little place called Poncho Springs, and in Poncho Springs, you'll come across this super cute little dive bar, I guess.
Literally a dive bar, like literally on the
Arkansas River.
So Poncho Springs is kind of like a river rafting kind of place.
Yes.
So they have this place called
Drift In.
Sorry. Should be Float In. Whatever.
Where you said that while we were there too.
You could pull up on your little thing, and there's like this little tiki bar in the middle of nowhere.
So cute.
Very cute. The drink prices were good. The service was friendly. There was like 4 dogs.
It's very like Margaritaville in the middle of the mountains. Don't get me started
on Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, it was very much so. Quite literally a tiki bar. It's right on the Arkansas River. You've got the sound of the water going. They even had like a smoky fire, like just not even flames. Like it was put out, but it was just the ash and the smell of smoke just to give you like that extra little appeal. Yeah. And you could quite literally take your raft and dock them, and then go get a couple of drinks. I think we had... What'd you drink?
I got a Coors Light because we just done the brewery tour. I'm really about Coors right now.
Yeah, so. You'll see our video on that one. If you guys ever have a chance or you're driving through down 285 in this general area, you gotta go check out Drift In Poncho Springs. It was very cute. Go support them. They also have their own kind of like camping spaces and whatnots there.
There's also a brewery inside Poncho Springs that we hit on the way back. It's got a food truck. Food was really good. It was a good little stop. Their beer was delicious. I can't remember.
I think it was just a branch of the Denver Brewing Company, wasn't it? We'll figure it out. We'll post it so you guys can see everything that we talked about today.
All the links will be in the description, I suppose.
Yeah, now we have to say that. It's in my notes.
It's in her notes. So that's why she gets paid the big bucks.
Uh-huh.
And I hold muffin.
Yeah, you're the muffin holder. So overall, very good. I still had a great time. I just like going on vacation. We got to do a photo shoot, drink some beer in the mountains and some hot tubs, and that's really what he wanted. So
I did not want the photo shoot part.
Yeah, you did.
I wanted everything
he enjoyed
else.
it. He likes it.
That's questionable. I do it. Happy wife, happy life. They like to say. I would say it's a good trip. I enjoyed myself. I got a little bit of relaxation in. Not as much as I wanted. I was too stressed about the money.
Stressed about money, yeah.
Like it's
we
just
didn't
so
plan
expensive.
for that much, honestly. Again, with more, planning and research, I think it could have been better. So,
Yeah,
all right.
I
So
mean-
overall, what was the best part? Your favorite part?
I don't know. I liked renting the car. I liked being able to, have a little bit of fun with, a convertible.
Yeah.
Something I wouldn't normally buy, but I enjoyed it.
All right. We at least got to test it and know, like, we're never gonna buy one
Oh,
of
don't
this.
go far. No, never. Okay. If we got enough disposable income, I might. But when
Yeah.
we're looking at, convertible versus, Ford Raptor, I'm probably going to buy the Raptor because then I could off-road it.
Just another truck.
Yeah.
Well, if you buy
It's
that,
fast.
we're gonna have to go down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jeep country. Okay. For me, the best part I think was
You can tell.
what? I
Just
forgot.
pull it out of your brain.
Calm down. Okay, the best part for me, I think, was the scenery. I really enjoyed the waterfalls, but they were waterfalls for lazy people, which was great because
Oh, yeah.
obviously I didn't bring hiking clothes. Like, I was there for photo shoots.
Her? She did?
Okay. So being able to like pull up and just get out of the car, and I'm also afraid of heights, so I didn't have to go like too far. I could be like, oh cute, like I love that, here's a picture, selfie, get back in the car. So like for a lazy tourist kind of attraction / scenery, I thought it offered quite a bit. We didn't really have to do too much for that.
Yeah,
so
I've always told people when I moved to Colorado, that I don't need to do the 14ers by walking. I can just drive there.
Right.
And this is that place.
Yeah, true.
Had we had the right equipment, that would be that would be the right place. Even though we rented the wrong thing, we still got to see some of that, and it was just a majestic beauty for sure.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, worst part.
Worst part, how fucking expensive it was. I don't.
True.
I don't want to spend that much money. Maybe I'm old. Maybe, I get the grumblies down in my tumbly about money, but I don't want to spend that. I don't want to spend $600 for a weekend trip.
Right.
Like that just sounds ridiculous to me. Like Golden and Idaho Springs and Georgetown all offer similar kind of vibes with, half the price, and we're talking even Breckenridge, could, out of season when you're not going up there when it's snowboarding season, similar prices where like that the infrastructure is a lot better and there's a lot more people and there's a lot more things to do and there's a lot more fun stuff, but that I think just cost is something that you got to be aware of when you're going down there.
Yeah.
It's built for people that spend $300,000 on their Jeeps and are willing to have that throwaway cash,
Yeah, for sure. I think worst part for me was probably the food. Like, I could have justified spending that much if I was having that good time that I was looking for. I could have justified it, but
Right.
the food for me was just like, they put food in front of me, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so good, it looks good, but then you bite into it, it's just continuously disappointing. So yeah, 3 days of just like food without any seasoning to it. Like, we should have just gone to the market and fucking either cooked ourselves or bought some salt.
Like I said, I think there's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Cut down on costs, cut down on the bad food, and just do it yourself, because you know what you like, right?
All right, so if you could put Ouray on a bumper sticker slogan.
Bumper stickers. Oh, that's right. I don't know why I'm not having a good time. I'm spending all this money, but I don't know why I'm not having a good time. That was my bumper sticker that I came up with when we were there.
Yeah.
I was like, we're spending so much money. I don't know why I'm not having a
Why
good
are
time.
we not having a good time? My bank account is draining, and I'm still waiting for us to be like, yay, this was so great. Okay, so if I could turn Ouray into a shirt slogan, it would say, expensive and beautiful.
Okay, so I think that's it for us today. I will sign us off here by saying, if you want us to go find a place, you tell us. Let us know what places you want us to find.
Muffin found speed.
We'll find a place.
We'll find that place. Okay, thanks.